What the heck is going on with Canelo Alvarez? What does his future entail for boxing? Because in the last 48 hours, it feels like we've gotten every possible headline there could be. But it seems like there's been some resolution, and we kind of understand the path that Canelo is taking both in 2025 and 2026. And guess what? It's going to be with Turki Al-Sheikh, as it looks like the Jake Paul fight is off and the Terence Crawford fight is on for September. We didn't know what was going to happen, but now we do. Turkey announced it, the ring announced it, Canelo confirmed it. We're going to get into all of it right here on the Never Drop podcast. I'm Luke Backman. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and like this video, as Canelo Alvarez signed a 4-fight deal with Turki Al-Sheikh in Riyadh season, as it's going to last him through 2026. Not only that, we've also got potential opponents for each of these fights. I'll just give you one opponent that is not on the deal: Jake Paul. Jake Paul is not going to be fighting Canelo Alvarez after reports originally said Crawford versus Canelo off. Crawford versus Paul is on. No, Crawford versus Canelo is going to happen in September in Las Vegas, but Crawford versus Paul in May? Nope. The deal was apparently on the 1 yard line, according to Mike Coppinger, and Canelo said, "You know what? I don't think I can do it. I'm going to go and take the fight deal that Turkey had for me, 4 fights. I'm going to do that over going against Jake Paul," which, in my opinion, I believe is the correct decision. I think if Canelo would have fought Jake Paul in this stage of his career, it would have been a stain on his legacy for a long time. And I understand the money aspect, but if he would have done that over Benavidez, canceling the Crawford fight, and said, "No, I'll just fight Jake Paul," it would have been a huge tarnish and stain on his legacy. But he decided against it, most likely smartly against it, and said, "I'm going to go with Turkey." So let's talk about these 4 fights. The first one, May, which usually is when Canelo fights, that one's going to be in Saudi this year. That fight will be in Saudi in May, and then we go in September. Obviously, May and September are the usual dates for Canelo. That's going to be the huge fight against Terence Crawford. Rumors are Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. That's the date. Looking like September 13th, I believe the date was floated out. That's going to be Canelo versus Terence Crawford. Crawford confirmed it, tweeting under the announcement, "I'll be waiting for Canelo and ready to shock the world in September." Next, and this is kind of interesting because it's going to be switching up Canelo's schedule. He's going to be fighting twice in 2026, both in Saudi, and both at different times than he usually fights. The first one's going to be in February, while the second one's going to be in October. Again, usually Canelo's May, September. That's when he fights. So Turkey must have talked to him, "Hey, you're going to get back in the ring quicker. Instead of waiting to May, you're going to get back in the ring February, and then you're going to take a little bit of a break, and then in October." But if you're an American fan of Canelo, you might want to start saving your money and getting ready to purchase a Canelo versus Crawford ticket, because it looks like we're not going to be seeing Canelo on American soil for a long time. Other than this Crawford fight, a year and a half, basically, of no Canelo fighting. Almost 2 years of no Canelo fighting in the U.S. Turkey was on Twitter last night really popping it, letting the people know he made this deal.
Canelo in Riyadh in May, the big fight in the history of boxing. In September, then 2 more fights in 26. Don't miss.
And for him, you got to think this is a huge achievement because of how people were saying, no, Canelo would never work with him. Canelo's his own boss. Their relationship got off to a rocky start. The two were able to make it happen. At the end of the day, money speaks, and we're going to get this huge Crawford mega fight. That's going to be huge. But what are some other opponents for Canelo? So this fight in May, it's looking like it's either going to be Jermall Charlo or Bruno Saris. Interesting, because I thought William Skoll would be the guy, because then that would get Canelo undisputed, and then undisputed versus undisputed, kind of being able to do that in the matchup against Crawford, build that up as undisputed versus undisputed for the undisputed belts at 68. But I guess they're going to go Jermall Charlo, who's been out of the ring for a while, was rumored to be on the Tank PBC card on March 1st. That didn't work out. Or Bruno Saris. Interesting fight again. I think it's just not a tune-up, but a stay active fight for Canelo. As we get into September, I've noted against Terence Crawford. And then we get into February of 2026, and it looks like the three options could be Dimitri Bivol, James Sherez, or Chris Eubank Jr. The Eubank Jr.'s fight has been floated around for a while now. Interesting. I think out of the three of those, Canelo's going to want Bivol because he's talked about, I want to avenge the Bivol loss. Going to be interesting, of course. Beterbiev versus Bivol 2. What happens there? And say Bivol wins a comfortable fight. What if we get Bivol versus Benavidez? And then maybe you could talk about the winner gets Canelo in 2026. That's just, again, a pipe dream because I want to see Canelo versus Benavidez. But that's interesting. And then right now, the October 2026 fight, not too sure who that opponent is. I'm sure it might be a mix of those three I just listed, maybe one that didn't get the fight originally, or maybe we get another opponent that rises in these next 2 years. So it's interesting how this deal came about last second, and how, if you're a casual fan thinking about it, no Jake Paul fight. It was rumored Netflix was going to be in on the deal. I'm sure that was money on top of money. And it seems like Canelo would have rather not saved necessarily, but it looks like Canelo values his legacy not to do that Jake Paul fight. As, trust me, that would have been huge business. But it would have hurt Canelo's legacy for the long run if he would have canceled the Crawford fight and taken the Jake Paul fight. At the end of the day, Turkey gets what Turkey wants, and he wanted Canelo Alvarez. He got Canelo Alvarez for 4 fights. I mean, I thought we were doing a one-off deal for the Crawford fight. Canelo said, if you get me for a while. And now Canelo is off to another promoter. He's been to Matchroom, PBC, Golden Boy in his early days. Riyadhseason now with Turki Al-Sheikh. This is going to be interesting. I want to see the fight cards he bolts around, because think about it. The May card, Turkey's already talking about doing Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. That fight card on a Friday in May in New York City. Is he going to have Canelo the next day in Riyadh? Turkey seems like he can do whatever he wants at this moment in boxing, so we'll just have to let him figure it out. But the main news, well, for 48 hours, what is going on? We were confused what was happening. We found out Canelo, 4 fights with Turki Al-Sheikh in Riyadhseason, with the Terence Crawford fight in September happening. Man, that's going to be a mega fight. When I talk about mega fight, I'm talking about a mega fight. I can't wait. Let's see who Canelo picks for his May date. And then it's the big one in September. And then we'll see in 2026 how this partnership continues to go. But Canelo Alvarez signs with Turki Al-Sheikh in Riyadhseason for 4 fights. Jake Paul fight is dead. Terence Crawford fight is a go. Make sure you subscribe to the Never Drop podcast for all the latest news. I'll have all the breaking news covering this and other fights coming up. Make sure you hit the like button, comment below. Are you excited for this 4-fight deal? Let me know some opponents you want Canelo to face in the comments below. As of now, that's all I got for you. Peace. I'm out.